The F1 Las Vegas has finally ended after all that show with the Lego Carretera Cruise and then the Mickey and then just everything. It was cool. It was cool to add, but finally it has just ended, and another huge interesting race that was going on here. It's just so much stuff has happened and it's so late. It's not even that late. It's only 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. But to start off, Lando bottling straight from the first corner of the track. Maybe he thought he had more time. I don't know because it's such a short like turn straight from lights out, and Lando just completely just went in front of Max and then went completely wide and then lost two positions from uh from Max and Russell, and that pretty much didn't ruin his race, but it just didn't help him at all in the case. And then later on, um, um, Charles was looking pace. He had a not the best qualifying. Same with Hamilton. They both went up 7 positions. Huge contact from Bertoletto took out Liam Lawson, or took out Lance Stroll, and then Liam Lawson had a front wing problem he had a box after a great qualifying as well, and Piastri was also involved with a huge hiccup that happened. A bunch of stuff in the first turn of the track. Borsalto maybe thought he had more braking time. He just braked way too late, just rammed straight into Stroll, ruined Stroll's race. Um, but yeah, Hamilton went huge there. Race results. Let's go to the scene here. Let's see what I missed. Yeah, so 3 cars went out. Albon was just having issues the whole time. Had a pit. Borsalto, Rams, Lance Stroll, both out. Max is the winner, obviously, of this Grand Prix. He looks great. He's still in contention for the championship. Do I think he's gonna win it? Probably not. But it's just cool to see, how much he's closing the gap from Piastri and Lando. Because after, they're dominating in the season, people are like, oh, Max, well, he's in contention for even second place. I wouldn't be surprised if he got second place. That's huge for Max there. Lando just costed the race towards the end. It was a huge scare. He was only like 6 seconds away, 5 seconds away from Max going to the final laps from the race. Next, the gap turned into 12, turned into 15, turned into 18, turned into 20, and then the gap for Russell was also going low, and then Piastri. It was huge. If Russell didn't really have, how you said earlier in the race, a steering wheel problem, maybe Russell would have had a P2 instead. But Lando was losing insanely amount of time in 2 laps. He went from 5 seconds to 20. In one turn, he would lose like 4 tenths. It was crazy. But there was that Piastri qualifying. He hasn't looked like the Piastri that people know from the beginning of the season. Piastri was strong. I thought he was going to win the championship. I thought he was the better driver at first. Not closing to the season, well, obviously where it matters the most. It just hasn't shown it really. Kimi was manhandling Oscar and Charles. Piastri just couldn't do anything. Kimi had an amazing race. If it wasn't for the 5 second penalty, he would have been in fourth. Maybe possibly even a podium. He 100% probably would have been in contention against Russell for a podium if this didn't go his way towards early and he had a 5 second time penalty and everything like that. Um, it was great for the Mercedes. They showed had pace, could have done more, but it just wasn't the case for them. Charles Leclerc, he looked strong the first couple laps in the beginning, overtaking, who was it? Hadjar, overtaking Piastri. It was huge for Charles, and it looks like Ferrari had good pace, and also Hamilton was going through 7 in a couple of lap 1, lap 2, overtaking 7 cars. Ferrari looked good, but then it was 100% contention as well for Ferrari for a podium. They just had to get through Kimiantonelli, and that just wasn't the case for them. None of them, Piastri or Charles, could have got. Of course, the undercut didn't go Charles' way, and then the whole Piastri, he was in front of Piastri. Piastri overtook him, and then just Charles couldn't really do anything from that. Sainz, who qualified P3, went to P7, which is probably expected, especially in Vegas. It was such a fast track. So good race from Sainz. Albon was like 6 races now without getting a single point for Williams. Not looking great really for Albon. And then the Sadger, who had a great qualifying, and Nico Hulkenberg getting points, and Lewis Hamilton with P10. Berman looks great in the beginning half of the race, and then obviously everything that has happened. Liam Lawson lost huge points here today, trying to prove that he's still capable of being in F1, and hopefully a team picks him up by the end of the season. And after that, what a show they had at the end. They had the limos before. I think the Cadillac but then today with the pink Cadillac driven by Terry Crews, one of my favorite actors. Hilarious dude. And I was like, Terry Crews, and he's talking with Lando and Max and George, driving over the whole track, singing, making my way downtown. It was great. I love to see Terry Crews. Such a fun personality to have, especially in the sport. He's always in races, so you love to see that. Then they had that. Then they had the whole Mickey show, and then they had the interviews by the water stuff. And then finally they managed to get themselves on the podium. It took forever. It took like 12 minutes, 15 minutes. But it was a good show. Obviously, Vegas, you want to put in a huge, good show for them. You can probably tell I'm extremely tired, but it was worth it watching a race like that. For the championship now, it's just with Oscar not having the worst race possible. P4 is still up there. Next race is obviously Qatar, which is not my favorite. Just for me, it's just boring. The drivers hate it. Get it out of the calendar. I'm not a huge fan of the Qatar race. Let's check the driver standings. Hopefully it's updated. I'm not sure if it's updated. I think it is updated. So then Lando, he's in P1. Obviously P1 408, Piastri 378, and then Max with 366, just right there with Oscar. If Oscar keeps underperforming and Max wins these next two races, you would probably get P2. Lando, I don't think he will choke. Hopefully not, because for me, I want to see Lando win. I've seen him since first joining McLaren and that whole process. And McLaren weren't the best team at them. They were a mid-table team. And then last 3 years, they were able to find something and able to, got the right pairings, you have Lando, who's been in that project for years, and it's finally coming to him. Obviously, Piastri is a great and one of my favorite drivers, but I really want to see Lando take that championship. So we'll see what happens in Qatar. Not my favorite track. The last sprint of the season. 2 more Grand Prix, 1 more sprint, and we'll see who will take the World Drivers' Championship pretty soon.